Hey guys, Eric Knight here. This is the Night Show, December 17th, 2012. Just under 4 days now from the end of the world as we know it. Now, the only reason I bring this up is I saw a couple interesting articles on the Drudge Report today talking about how Lanza's mother was a doomsday prepper to a certain extent, as well as this guy over in China that did these knife killings. He was also one of these people that believed we were in end times. Now, whether or not this has any validity in these tragedies that we've had recently, I just kind of found it to be a little bit interesting. However, the real intent of this video is to discuss Obama's speech last night. He had came out and addressed the public and tried to provide comfort to the families and the victims of those lost last Friday in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. It was a pretty heartfelt speech. A lot of good things were said. Now, he did say there will be some changes here in the near future. It's time for a change. We need to have something change to prevent things like this from ever happening again and protecting our kids. So he didn't really dive into any real specifics on what those changes will be. However, he said that he would use all the power that he has vested in him as president to make sure we do have a change. So that brings the question, what will this change be? Now, I'm looking for something to happen here probably in the next several weeks. My best prediction of the soonest changes or something to expect would be renewing this federal assault weapons ban that we had from 1994 up until 2004. It's been attempted to renew this ban several times over the last 8 years or so. However, they didn't make any progress towards that. I believe now we're at this tipping point where we will renew that ban, whether it's through Congress or if he has to bypass the Congress. I see it happening through some sort of executive order. Now, some of the things that I find interesting, looking deeper into the details as far as what actually happened with the shooting, I've talked to people that I know pretty closely in law enforcement, and a couple interesting things come out of these conversations regarding this guy. If you look at Lanza and you look at his background, it sounds like he had autism. It sounds like he was probably taking some sort of medications. Sounds like he really didn't have any close connections with people. And their analysis, just based on this guy's background, they would say that it's very highly unlikely that this person could ever walk into a gun store and purchase these type of weapons by himself based on what we know about this individual's background. Additionally, we touched on the statistics on gun control and these assault weapons. Turns out that a lot of the weapons that are obtained illegally, which was a surprise to me, are actually stolen from law enforcement, just right out of their cars, whether they're broken into, they forget to lock their doors, whatever the case is. The public will not be prevented, especially those, well, obviously the criminals, from obtaining these types of weapons in the future if they need them. And obviously these are the people that commit these horrendous crimes. Now, myself personally, I have absolutely no desire to ever own any type of assault weapon or assault rifle. I never have had the desire to, but I do believe in my Second Amendment rights, and I think this is just a small step towards infringing on these rights once again. Now, we had it before, and I think we're going to have it again, but I think it's only a matter of time before we have that next incident. And, you know, let's say we do ban the assault weapons, and then somebody goes heavily armed with a bunch of semi-automatic handguns and, you know, kills a bunch of people that way. And then, well, we had another crisis. And I think if the crisis is big enough, again, it's going to be another step towards jumping in and taking those liberties. I look at it almost just to relate it with this economic crisis we face. I remember seeing an interview with Paul Krugman where he had talked about quantitative easing and how, well, the stimulus worked. It worked really well, but it wasn't big enough. We needed more. And I could see the same thing happening just with gun control, where if we do ban these assault weapons, all of a sudden we have a string of these mass shootings and mass killings. Then, well, we took the measures. They worked. They worked, but we need to step in and we need to do more. And at what point do you draw the line? I see it as being a pretty slippery slope. And again, my only concern with this, again, understanding the Second Amendment rights that we have in this country, they basically secure all your other rights. And it's put in place to protect us against tyranny, the tyranny that we separated ourselves from, the tyranny that we've lost millions of lives over countless years, trying to defend and protect the freedoms that we still do have in this country. So I hope and pray that we don't have our weapons banned from us. I think that's something that may happen, not in the next several weeks, but I think it is one of these things that could happen in the next several years. I know that Obama has wanted us for some time now to sign on to this UN disarmament treaty, where they believe that the citizens of a country should not have any arms, period. And that's that gray area. That's where things get real bad real quick. So I think if there was an all-out gun ban in this country, which I don't believe is going to happen in the near future, it would cause probably some civil unrest. It would be a pretty big, nasty deal, and I hope and pray that never happens. So let's see what happens in the next several weeks. Whatever they do decide to implement, I just hope and pray that it does have some positive effect. I really hate seeing these tragedies happen, but again, it's not something that's ever going to stop. Unfortunately, there's some pretty sick people in this world that have no regard for how precious human life is, and just some sick people out there. So we'll leave it at that today. Feel free to post your comments. Let me know what you think or you predict could come out of this. I'd love to hear your responses and maybe offer some other alternative solutions we could face in the war against ending these violent crimes. So thanks for tuning in. This is The Night Show, again, December 17th, 2012. We'll have much more to talk about later on tomorrow.